Evening guys, how's it going? Welcome back of course to the Time Bomb channel. Hope all is good in your part of the world, and it is now time to don your pith helmet and your linen suits as we go a little vintage. This one has been kindly lent into the channel, and as soon as I saw a photo of it, it resonated immediately with me. I think one of the reasons for that might be because it reminded me somewhat of the Christopher Ward Dune that I reviewed a couple of weeks back. I think with its aging all over the case body and the dial, it sort of almost has a little bit of a warm quality to it, which is very apt. Obviously we named the Tropical, and it comes to us all the way from the 1950s. Just get shots there without too much reflection. Very difficult. It's dark here in the UK because it's chucking down with rain and blowing a hoolie. So yeah, lighting is an issue. It's a very fine vintage piece that carries the patina and dings, I think, that fuels one's imagination as to wondering where it's been and what it's seen from its perch on somebody's wrist. Was it the dusky maidens of the Far East? Or was it the far-flung, mosquito-ridden rubber plantations? Or was it quite simply the pub down the road, as the owner never got any further than there? As you can see, in relation to my fingers, it's quite a petite little watch. It comes in at 34 mils across, which probably should be quite refreshing to regulars of the channel who are used to my steely behemoths. It's just over 42 mils north to south, and then around 10, just over 10 mils deep. You've got quite a lot of domage up the top, as you can see there, contributing to that depth. And then very sensible 18 mil lugs on a case body of that size. Now, I'll just throw up some close-up shots here which have less of a reflection, and you can see the fine detail of the minute track, which sits slightly outside the hour markers there, and of course our wonderful classic, very, very necessary subsections down there, sitting nicely between the 5 and 7. Looking at the advert here, you can see that it was advertised for use in the tropics and under abnormal conditions, already tickling the imaginations of the doers of Daring Do who were off up the river into the tropics. Notice that the ad also refers to a luminous dial and not loomed markers. Sadly, no loom left on this particular one. And I don't know what it is specifically, whether it's the combination of the dial circles, the petite Romans, that classic sub-seconds dial with a dial almost having aged perfectly. It all combined to make a very, very handsome little watch. And I just wish they made them a tad larger, because as you can see in my 7¼ inch wrist, it does sit just a little bit petite. I mean, I'd wear it because it's so damn good looking, but I'd also struggle to read it with my aging eyes. So I just north to south as well, just a little bit too small. You'll also notice the aging on the case body. So you can see it's rubbed off quite here, also very different to the case back. Simple reason for that being is that this is a stainless steel case back, whereas the case body nickel plated. So it's the plating that has rubbed off, and I actually think that the rubbed off sections actually add to its appeal. It just gives it, again, you can't fake the aging on something like this. Buzzing away inside this one is a Smith's movement, but originally JW Benson's made their own movements. But as you can see here, here's the Smith's movement, and it has a very, very delicious tick. And I'm just going to try and pick it up now with the mic, see if I can do that. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's coming through. I'll check when I'm doing the editing. But if it isn't, I'm sorry. If it does, you'll appreciate why I like it so much. And just sort of thinking about that Smith's movement in it, that's when I started asking questions about the brand, and I did a little bit of digging. So here's a smidgen of history on the brand that I've been able to dig up. James William Benson, who I think looked a little bit like this, founded the brand with his brother Samuel back in 1847. Sibling rivalry clearly got in the way as it didn't last very long, but JW continued on alone to become one of the most prestigious retail jewellers in Victorian London. Through participation in national and international exhibitions of latest inventions and such, he again gained reputation, and one of his inventions that tickled me was the patent dust and damp excluding band for watches. And sadly, I could find nothing more on what one could only assume to be the precursor to the modern day rubber gasket. JW died in 1878, and his two sons continued the business, achieving royal seals of approval. Then with the onset of World War I, as for many other watch manufacturers, the demand for timepieces increased massively. The first trench style watches appeared, with Benson's offering up their own versions, and also, a plethora of their pocket watches, which was what they would have been known for at the time. It's a little unclear exactly when Benson's stopped making their own movements, either during World War I or World War II, and then they started buying in Swiss movements. So you may find early pieces of theirs that come with a seamer or review movements, for example, with then later ones like this featuring the Smiths movement, but I couldn't find out if Smiths temporarily sort of adopted the brand, or they just went to them for the movements, etc. So if you know more about that, please do drop a comment down below. Post-war, the brand continued with some fine advertising from that period on view. In the 1970s, the brand was sold, and then again in the 1990s it was sold again, and I couldn't find anywhere to suggest with who or where the brand resides nowadays. Possibly a similar account of a historical brand, a little bit like Timor, and check a review up here for my take on those beauties. They've got a new watch coming out quite soon, or a new variant of a watch coming out soon. So yeah, check them out. So that's most of what I've been able to discover about this watch and the brand. There was reference to watches which looked like the Smiths that Hillary took up, Everest, etc. So again, I think they did a little bit of a homage around the same time to something like that. But again, please, if you know anything more about the brand or this particular watch, anything else that can add to the backstory to this, don't hesitate and drop us a comment down below, because I'm sure there's still lots more to uncover. So I'm warmed, as I said, to this watch, particularly due to the history of the brand, and it has that true, pure vintage appeal that so many manufacturers nowadays are trying to fake, and here you've got it in spades. It's just oozing it out. I mean, what a brilliant, very gentlemanly, handsome little watch. All right, guys, over to you. What do you reckon of this one? Look forward to your comments. Thanks as always for your time and your view, and catch you all in the next watch vid. Cheers.